What's better than one broken crazy magic card? 3 broken crazy magic cards. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We are here today to talk about some insane new spoiler cards from Theros Beyond Death. Now, before I jump into that, just want to mention some people have recently said to me that YouTube unsubbed them from the channel. So if you want to double check that you're subbed, if you want to be, that's a good idea. That being said, let us dive right on into Spoiler Town. We are going to start out with Shadow Spear. Now this isn't something I was expecting to get its own individualized card, but I have very much wondered what the concept behind this was. I mean, we saw Elspeth come back. This is Elspeth's weapon that has gone through so many different variations at this point, right? I mean, it started out as the Sword of Chaos that was forged by Theros to take down Heliod. Elspeth ends up with it in her possession, and then when she meets Heliod, he ends up changing it into the Godsend or God's End, depending on how you prefer to look at the name. Either way, he forges it into that. It gets shattered and reforged into a death mask for Elspeth, and now we have it in its newest incarnation. Although I suppose, to be technically fair, the Chaos Sword up to the mask was the same item. This, in the most technical sense, isn't actually the same object in a different form. This is a different incarnation of that object. What's happened here is Elspeth has been trapped night after night in nightmares involving Heliod, and somehow, most likely with the aid of Ashiok. Let's be real. I mean, when we look at the artwork in a minute, you'll see exactly why. Okay, yeah, that's definitely tied to Ashiok. But most likely what's happened is Ashiok somehow allowed Elspeth to tap into the power of her nightmares and make them a reality and draw this sort of liquid, corrosive, ichor-stained version of the Godsend spear out of her own nightmares. That's pretty insane. And the card itself is 1 mana to cast. It is an equipment that gives the equipped creature +1/+1, trample, and lifelink. I like that very much. And for 1 mana, permanents your opponent's control lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. And it equips for 2. A weapon of darkness for a warrior of light. Pretty simple flavor text, but the contrast between dark and light is always an enjoyable one. Overall, power level of the card seems really strong. I mean, it's only 1 to put out and 2 to equip, and you get trample, lifelink, and a power and toughness boost off of it. It's like a mini Loxodon Warhammer in a way, but it comes with the added bonus of making it so that all your opponent's permanents lose hexproof and indestructible. That's not too shabby. There are a lot of good hexproof creatures out there, and there are a lot of indestructible permanents that can be very annoying. Now, obviously, when we look at the current world that we're in, the world of Theros, what's indestructible there? Well, the gods are. What does this spear do? Take away their indestructibility. This is a God Slayer spear. Again, very much in line with the concept of God's End, right? Or Godsend. Again, I still never got 100% clear on which variation of that it's supposed to be. But anyways, you've got a scenario where every different variation of this weapon has been able to destroy the divine, able to cut through enchantment, the Nyxian essence. And this Shadow Spear is no different. And it's just the idea of this spear that now not only can it slay the gods, but there's no way to stop it from getting to you, essentially, right? You can't have hexproof to protect you from this. Did you think you were untargetable? Did you think you could not be scathed? Well, guess again. The Shadow Spear is going to end you. And when you look at the artwork, you can see it. This is the Shadow Nightmare incarnation of Elspeth's spear that she wielded for a fair bit of time. And you can see there is like black ichor dripping off of it. It honestly looks like it's been dipped in Phyrexian oil, if I'm real. But that's not going to be what turns out that the story is. Don't for a second think, oh, the Phyrexians are here, because that doesn't make any sense logically. But you can see there is all this black miasma kind of looking like a little bit of smog clouds pouring off of this in different directions, just almost even kind of clouding out the sky to a degree. And that speaks to the influence of Ashiok. And I like the fact that it's set against this sort of, it's like colorful, but also muted tone behind it. That like the colors behind the Shadow Spear show the terrain that you can see. And there is like some splash of color, but it's not really, there's something about the way, I don't know exactly how to describe it because it's not like I'm an art major or something who knows all the terminology, but either way, the way that the background is kind of muted just makes those two gems that are set into in the Shadow Spear kind of glare out at you like two insidious eyes. I really like this card. I think it's very, very potent. Obviously, I mean, from the introduction, you know, all the cards we're going to talk about today are strong. So let's move on to the next strong card that is very exciting to talk about, and that is Bronzehide Lion. Honestly, instead of going like individual style where I pick one card and talk about the flavor around it and the cards that are connected to it in Magic's history, today I just wanted to spend some time getting hyped about a bunch of cool new stuff. And I mean, spoiler, everything we're showing here can go into a green deck, and that's big points with me because I love green. So Bronzehide Lion, we had the Fleece Mane Lion in the older Theros, right? Now we've got Bronzehide Lion. 1 white and 1 green for a 3/3 cat. For a white and a green, he gains indestructible until end of turn. It's crazy. Honestly, just stopping and looking at this card, it's just crazy. Because we had Watchwolf for the longest time from Ravnica. Like the original Ravnica was just basically a vanilla green and a white for a 3/3. But it felt really strong for what you got for your 2 mana. And obviously we've come much further. Because right here, you get a 3/3 that only costs 2 mana to turn into an indestructible until end of turn. And that's absolutely insane. But it actually goes, just that all by itself feels like it would be enough to be a rare card. But then you add on the fact that it's actually kind of like a reverse bestow card. There was this bestow enchantment mechanic in the previous Theros block, and now we have this variation where when Bronzehide Lion dies, return it to the battlefield. It's an Oran enchantment with enchant creature you control and green and a white activation. Enchanted creature gains indestructible until end of turn and loses all other abilities. So this is pretty funky. Basically, the concept is when the Bronzehide Lion dies, it actually comes back as an enchantment, enchanting one of your creatures that then gives the enchanted creature the same ability as the Bronzehide Lion did. It can be a little confusing if you look at the wording and you're not too familiar with how stuff like this works and you go, wait, and loses all of the abilities. Does the creature that's enchanted lose all the other abilities? But no. It's basically saying Bronzehide Lion becomes purely an enchant creature that allows for the exact same activation. The artwork is pretty funky here. You just have this big lion roaring away in front of a funky looking forest. Honestly, the weird little like squiggles in his fur there, it's like, all right. I mean, it does make him feel different. He doesn't look like his hide is really made of bronze though, but whatever. That's a minor nitpick. The artwork itself is really, really cool looking. The cat looks fantastic and beefy. He actually looks like massive too, because you got to remember, like 3/3 is the size of an elephant, right? That's like a lot of elephants in Magic the Gathering are 3/3. And you can see the trees that are there for scale to let you know. This is going to be bigger than your regular lions. This is like a mythic-sized lion. Very, very cool, but not the coolest. The coolest card we're going to look at is NYX Bloom Ancient. Oh my god. I was doing a live stream earlier today, and multiple people came in and asked me if I had seen the card. So I went and took a look at the card during the stream, and I just started clapping in excitement because, oh my god, do I love this card so much. Now, I know the casting cost is steep. I understand. I mean, it is 3 green and 4. That's a lot of mana to have to spend. But my god, what you get for it is absolutely amazing. You get yourself a 5/5 trampling elemental. But here's where it gets crazy. If you tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much of that mana instead. Like, that I read that and was just like, wait, what? What? everything, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even say specifically like, oh, forests. It doesn't even specifically say basic land. It doesn't even just say land. Any permanent that you tap for mana, it will give you 3 times that much mana. That is insane. This is going to lead to crazy blowouts. Yes, the 7 mana is expensive to get to, but people are able to slap down Agents of Treachery. There's all kinds of expensive cards to get played in Magic, and the effect that you have here is going to be very overwhelming, honestly. I mean, we've seen how much of a difference just having Nissa makes, and she basically essentially doubles your mana by making your forests each produce an extra mana. This takes it to a whole new level. Doesn't care what kind of lands you have. Doesn't care if it's a land. You could even use that new NYX Lotus with this thing and have it make triple the mana. Triple the mana. Oh my god. The flavor text says, ancient yet ever young, it is wise and subtle, and cruel and reckless as the spring itself. And if you look at the artwork, you can see it's got a very vicious face. It's got a very vicious face. It almost kind of feels like a bramble elemental, you know what I mean? Just the crazy amounts of roots and little branches and stuff. But you can see too from the thickness that it definitely feels like a tree that's been alive for a long time. And it's just got, it looks like it's got little vines kind of creeping off in the background too, just climbing up a wall. Like this thing can reach out to all kinds of different locations. And it's a NYX Bloom. So this is an elemental like god stuff creature. This is a tree folk that's made out of the same essence as the gods are. This isn't your everyday kind of tree folk. I'm surprised, honestly, that this wouldn't be a legendary style creature. But you can see what almost looks like, it almost feels like a bunch of like Nyxian lotuses. Nyx style lotuses are like blossoming off of him all over the place. But just the idea of some god essence tree folk that's so in tune with mana production that it can triple the mana production of anything just by being near it and infusing whatever it is with the NYX Bloom's essence, that's pretty amazing. So as someone who loves big fat green beef, I'm obviously very excited about this card. This right now is my #1 pick. I can't believe this will make great henge tap for 6 mana. This is so dumb and broken, and I can't wait to play it, because I play a bunch of 7 casting cost green creatures in my green deck. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about these cards, all right? Are you as excited about them as me? Because for me, I'm super hyped about this stuff. Loving, absolutely loving what's coming out of Theros. I'm fine with the power level. If Wizards wants to ramp up the power level and it means that I get a bunch of fun stuff like this, I don't care. I just want to have a good time. And this is the kind of stuff that I would put into my cube or my green tower for some of this stuff. Either way, it's going to get used. Now, thanks for coming by, everybody. I'm going to put links here at the end to some fun videos on this channel and a fun video on my second channel where we are making enjoyable comedy videos. So if you want to come by and check it out, you are welcome to do so. Other than that, just want to thank my patrons and channel members very much for supporting what I do here. And remember, together, we are the 6th color of magic.